recovered. Jan-Mat de Guzman, who's got past an injury scare, as has Van Persie. Wesley Sneijder back to his best of late, and Arjen Robben of Bayern Munich, who is perhaps the most important player according to his coach. A different looking Dutch setup as well. They've dispensed with a famous 4-4-3. They'll play 5 at the back, we expect today. It's a new formation. And as ever, all those not on the field at the start today are on the bench and available if required. Andreas Iniesta, that injury time goal 4 years ago. Wesley Sneijder, who's back to his best, hoping to have a big influence for the Dutch this time around. Well, there's no doubting Spain's pedigree, world champions, but 4 years on, the Dutch have been stripped down and rebuilt. How does this generation handle the heat? And they're both in changed strips as well today. Do not adjust your sets, neither side in their traditional home kit, if you like. Spanish in the white will get the first free kick. Well, all eyes on Diego Costa, who fills such a very different position for the Spanish going into this World Cup. It's a success for the vast majority of Spanish fans who took part in a newspaper poll online back in Spain, who said they wanted to see Diego Costa up there, and they have got their wish. Here's Xavi. Sergio Ramos looking long, but not finding any connection, and the first touch, a nerve-settling touch for Jasper Cillessen. Only 4 of this Dutch starting lineup survive from the 2010 final. De Jong, Sneijder, Robben and Van Persie. Only 4 of the Spanish side didn't play in that final. Azpilicueta, Alba, Silva and Costa. And here's Piqué. The first sign of boos as Diego Costa tries to get himself involved. The Brazilians, of course, not happy with his inclusion and choice of playing for Spain. Silva with a touch, brought down by the high boot of De Jong. Blint. Here's Martin Zindi. Robben will claim he was pulled over, but the referee will allow play on. Here comes Arjen Robben. And this is Daley Blind, who's been playing for his club side Ajax as more of a defensive midfielder this last year. He's been reinvented, but he's back to perhaps what he was known as best a couple of years ago on this left-hand side of defence. Touched by De Jong. And here's Ramos. Was under a little bit of pressure, but manages to play it away, and it's up for a Spanish throw. Only 8 defeats in 6 years for Vicente Del Post. It's a remarkable career as a Spanish coach. And on the other side, a man who's got some pedigree too, 62-year-old Louis van Gaal, on his way to Manchester United, of course, next season. Having won the domestic championship at every club he's been at thus far. Here's Xabi Alonso. Silva. Diego Costa's on the chase, but hit with a little too much zip and into the arms of Cillessen again. Here's Azpilicueta back on his natural right-hand side. He's been playing at left-back for Chelsea for most part of this last season. It's a quiet start. Costa. Goes again from Brazilians as well as the Dutch, I'm sure. Here's Xavi. Azpilicueta. Silva. Xabi Alonso switching it left. Iniesta. Spanish just settling into possessional football, as they love to do, of course, the old tiki-taka. They're not going to change their style unless they're knocked out of it, and first sign maybe of the rigorous approach that the Dutch might have to this game today. Mat was the man with the challenge. Free kick for Spain. Here's Iniesta. Towards Robin, who is flattened this time. And we'll get a relieving free kick for the Dutch, who were pretty impressive in their qualification for this tournament. 9 out of 10 that they won there. Only lost points was against Estonia. They drew with Estonia, but they were playing none of the top 30 ranking teams. None of the teams in their World Cup qualifying group figured really as any of the European heavyweights. But they did manage to score 30. Here's Vla. De Vrij. Vla will look to pick out Van Persie in the middle. Here, who's just managed to shake one, but not the second. PK. Xavi. De Guzman. There's a concern about his fitness coming into this game. Jonathan De Guzman, in fact, it looked pretty certain he wasn't going to be available for the very first match, but he has managed to pull himself through. There's Robin, who lays it in for Sneijder with the first chance of the game, and Casillas was large. Blocked it away. Well, it was an immense moment from Iker Casillas. But here come the Dutch again. Robin. Van Persie. De Jong. Here's Martins Indy. Janmaat. Billy Blint. And now Azpilicueta. Xabi Alonso with a flick towards Costa. Well, he'll love this. Diego Costa, he does have a certain sharpness to his attitude, and he won't mind having the crowd against him. But this was the effort. Wesley Sneijder on the day of his 100th cap with a wonderful opportunity to get the Dutch up and running so early. But Casillas was absolutely immense. Stood up to that and blocks it away. Iniesta. Now Blitz. Possession rather cheaply conceded, and the Dutch won't want to do that too often this afternoon. Iniesta's got Jordi Alba just roaming on his outside, but Iniesta's coming in himself with a shot. First sighter for the little man from Barcelona. Never really troubling Silerson. And again, the Dutch rather profligate in possession and giving the Spanish wonderful position. Xabi Alonso to find a way through, but unable to pick out Diego Costa. It's Busquets. Xavi. Iniesta again. Diego Costa. Azpilicueta. Piqué. Sergio Ramos. Xavi with a flick. Not close enough to truly interest Diego Costa. Spanish had to qualify as well, of course, for this these finals, despite being the holders. And they too are unbeaten in their 8 qualifying games, just 2 draws, 6 wins. They won all their away games as well, interestingly. Their 2 draws came at home to France and Finland, but just as the Dutch were banging the goals in, the Spanish were keeping them out. They only conceded 3 goals in their 8 games, and it's been very much a feature of this generation of the Spanish national side. They do not concede many goals, do they? Only 6 conceded in their last 19 tournament games. European Championships in 2008 and 2012 and the World Cup 2010, but here they are looking at the other end, and Diego Costa looking to take a touch, but he's given time for Vlar to make the blocking challenge. So chances at either end, but neither taken. Free. It's Gerard Piqué. Piqué. Iniesta to Alba. a rigorous challenge by Nigel de Jong. Not for the first time he makes his presence felt amongst those Dutch players. There'll be some rather sore memories of his so-called Kung Fu challenge up there from the final 4 years ago. It's Busquets this time, Xabi Alonso. Costa on the chase, chucked away by Vla. Well, again, it's a free kick position that offers a Spanish an opportunity here. But he's given the throw. Iniesta. Azpilicueta. Xavi comes deep again to collect, to try and manufacture a way forward for Spain here. Iniesta's nice touch. Diego Costa, not enough weight on the ball to reach his man, and Daley Blind will clear away, and here comes Robben again. Azpilicueta was insistent. That should have been a Spanish throw, but it's gone the way of the Dutch. Percy. It's Blint. Schneider back to Blint, who looked for the first time ball in the middle. It's a chance to be knocked back by Jan Maats. Not controlled by de Guzman. And the Spanish survive a scare, and they will get a free kick as well here. And a yellow card for Jonathan de Guzman for the challenge on Andres Iniesta. First yellow card of the game. Iniesta. Here's Silva. To Xavi. It's Diego Costa, who tried to turn it in, was clipped as he did so, and the penalty is given. There will be complaints, but De Vrij makes contact, and Spain have a spot kick. Just about onside, held his line, and Costa looking for the inside ball, and he just had that trailing left leg. Well, was there much contact there? And how much of it did Diego Costa institute himself? But it is a penalty. Xabi Alonso is the man to take it. Arjen Robben reckons he knows which way he's going. Jasper Cillessen is duly informed. Will it make a difference? On first showing, it looked a little harsh. Xabi Alonso at his 6th major tournament. A cool head on a big occasion gives Spain the early lead. 1-0 to Spain. How often have we heard that scoreline before? Well, here we go again, and here they go again. But there will be some controversy as to how that penalty was earned. No doubts about the finish, despite the fact that Cillessen went the right way. "27 minutes played when the penalty is scored. And they're looking for a quick response here as well, but Robin van Persie was offside. Well, there's food for thought for the Dutch coach, Louis van Gaal. Just another note in the book for the other side. So flip for Jordi Alba. Here's David Silva. One nil was the most popular Spanish scoreline at the last World Cup. Every game after they qualified from the groups ended in that scoreline in their favour. They know how to defend this lead. It's just a matter of keeping possession and frustrating their opponents. It looks as though that might have gone out of play, but it's been allowed to play on. Here comes Iniesta. This now is Azpilicueta. Stretches things down this right-hand side. Silva. Couldn't find a way through to Jordi Alba. It's taken away instead by Jonathan de Guzman, who would like to set up a counter-attack for the Dutch, but not long before Spain are back in possession again. Thanks to the industry of Jordi Alba. Given away to Robin. He's got the trickery in the first place to find a halfway past PK, but the defender recovers. Here comes Robin again. Young Matt. Surely offside here, Van Persie, and he is. It was almost a surrendering of his position as he chased that ball. Well, they only had 2 penalties at the last World Cup, Spain, and they missed them both, so they'll be quite content that Xabi Alonso has got them up and running from the spot this time around. And where there was tension, suddenly there's relief and great jubilation as Spain take this early lead. But they're under pressure again here. Here's Young Matt. 3 in the middle to aim for. Young Matt. De Guzman's lost his marker. The cross is a little too heavy. Vlara. Out of reach. Possession, if you expect, very much heavily in the favour of the Spanish in this opening 31 minutes or so. 63% possession they've had so far. It's the Dutch side's turn to just hold on to the ball for a while. Forward by de Guzman. Here's Blint. This now is Robin. Back to Blint again.